and here comes Rex to clean up the egg on the floor.
Oh.
Hey guys,
Perfect timing, Rex.
Perfect timing, Rex. Welcome back to part 3 of this week's YAWA. We've taken a slightly different approach where we numbered some eggs to play a little game of egg roulette while we answer your questions. As you can see, I have lost several times, and
I just have a red mark from smashing eggs on my face that were hard-boiled.
We have at least, I believe there is 1, maybe 2 more raw eggs in there. As we finish out here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll have plenty of time to answer your 7 remaining questions. Guys, if this is the first time to the channel, you should definitely check out the previous 2 videos. You could watch me smash egg in my face, and then Kat also
I actually
smash an egg in my face. But it's pretty humorous, and we had a lot of great questions. If this is your first time to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Y'all know what to do. That way you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And I believe
it's my turn to go first.
It's Kat's turn to get started.
Well, I hope you guys all had a happy Easter. We sure did. It was Aiden's first time decorating these lovely Easter eggs, so.
Wait. Do I get a smash one on your forehead?
No. I already hurt myself enough. Okay.
You could go. I'll do your last one for you.
1, 2, 3, 4. Egg salad.
What number was it?
4.
Oh, that's because that's how many you counted.
Yeah.
Got it.
From Instagram, ouch. Michael_weed_3. Which belly collars do you guys use for WOA training? Thanks in advance. Love your videos. Well, thank you, Michael.
Thanks for being a fan.
We actually use DT Systems H2O 1820 collars. When we use a belly collar for WOA training, it's got a long collar strap. It can have 2 collars synced to the same transmitter.
Well, 3 in total, but you get that minimum of.
Yeah, it can have 3, but we're using the 2 when we're doing WOA training. So we have a neck collar and the belly collar, which allows us to continue doing recall with the neck collar while they're learning this process. The belly collar just for WOA training. And then once we're starting to transition that understanding to their neck, we can toggle back and forth really simply. And it allows us to make that connection for the dog really easy. So that was a great question.
That was a really good question. Awesome. Why don't you pick an egg for me? You're way luckier than I am.
Oh.
No, just pick the one that's on top, right?
10.
10. So I have to count to 10 before I smash this?
No,
this
that's my
definitely
method.
Feels like a raw egg. I've gotten pretty good at finding them. I know what this feels like.
Good.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, egg salad.
Ouch.
I just go for it, baby.
So have I.
It says...
I do have a lump. I have a bruised lump on my forehead. I need a raw egg to like soften this up a little bit.
Andrew Hine, it says, your EasyLead immediately helped our 7-month-old GSP not to pull. That's what it's made for. But he stops frequently to paw at the leash. I apply a little pressure to lift his head when he does this. It hasn't stopped him from trying it again. Any thoughts on how to get him to ignore the lead? Okay, I'm going to say, first of all, you are probably doing something wrong. Now, I don't mean that in a bad way, just the fact that a lot of people are making some small mistakes that can make a big difference on how well your dog's going to take to the leash. I'm going to walk through the steps very briefly and then say, watch our most recent video.
It'll be coming out really soon.
It should be coming out very soon. We actually did a video to answer this because a
common
lot of
mistakes people are making.
Yeah, I think we called it the 3 or 4.
3 common mistakes.
So make sure you're subscribed. You'll get a notification and hit the bell, turn notifications on. Then you'll get a notification that the video came out. But we show all of these steps. Basically, it comes down to making sure you have the leash put on properly, which is going to involve slipping off the outside. If you're heeling on the left or the right, you should have the ring attached to the portion next to you, the slip portion going off the outside of their neck. This is going to make sure that you get a good release, which is important for timing. Then once you have it flipped over to their muzzle, the number 1 mistake that we see with that is that people continue to apply a little bit of pressure. And if you have constant pressure on that, it feels uncomfortable. That's how it works. The dog is going to be pawing at it to get it off or to get it stopped. So once you have it cinched up tight, you need to make sure and drop your hand and give enough where you see that release And then it's going to be a lot more comfortable for the dogs to walk, and they can learn that pressure on means stop pulling, pressure off means I'm good to go walking. The next is, it sounds like you are doing a decent job with making a small correction when he starts trying to paw at it, but just make sure that that correction is fairly, let's go sharp, not long. So you want it to be a small pop like, hey, so that it's pressure on and off again. That's how they're going to learn. If you have a constant long pull, it's only going to make it more uncomfortable, which is going to encourage more pawing. If you're doing those 3 things, it should really help. And then definitely keep an eye out for that video. It'll go over all of those things again.
And if you're still having questions or still unsure of what we're talking about or what you might be doing wrong, Patreon is a really good opportunity for you to go on, become a patron, and then shoot a video of what's going on, why your puppy's pulling and pawing at that EasyLead over their muzzle. We can review that and then say, oh, this is the slight mistake you're making.
Yep. Our most powerful tool that we can offer you all is our ability to read dogs in training situations. We can't do that if we can't see them. So check it out. Patreon.com/Standing Stone Kennels.
6.
6.
Okie dokie. I don't want to do this.
I feel this got to be some kind of fancy facial thing. Smash egg all over your face, let it dry.
Egg salad. Ah. Ow, 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 ow. It hurts. I'm going to have a bruise here for the next YAWA. Okay. Instagram. Moto for Life 9928. Cool. Hi, I'm a 14-year-old and I'm looking to buy my first bird dog, but I don't know what to get. This is awesome. Great question. It's really cool that you're thinking ahead and going, what do I want to get out of my first dog? And you want a bird dog. So the first question you need to ask yourself is, do you want a flusher or do you want a pointing dog? So ask that question. And then once you've made your decision, if you want a flushing dog, there's lots of great breeds out there. Labs, English Cockers, Boykin Spaniels, Golden Retrievers, lots of options. Mm-hmm. If you decide you want a pointing breed, you can look at Shorthairs, Weimaraners, English Setters, English Pointers. There's tons of options out there as well. So once you decide flusher or pointer, then you can look at researching specific breeds. I would say, too, to make sure that when you're looking for a dog, we've talked about this in the past, and you're picking a breeder, make sure that you're comfortable with the breeder. Make sure you're asking the breeder what kind of hunting they do with their dog, what kind of family dog that the parents are of the puppies you'd be looking at getting are. Do they live in the house? Do they settle down? Are they quiet? Are they calm? So that you can make sure that whatever puppy you pick is going to have the same traits that you're going to want out of a dog that you live with. So those would be a really good place to start, as well as we've got a couple other videos on our YouTube channel that talk about how to pick a puppy and how to pick a breeder.
Great question. Thanks for being a fan. All right.
All you, babe. There's one more raw one in there, and I actually kind of want to get it because my head hurts. I want to have the raw one because my face is sore.
I would be glad for you to have the raw one. Okay, question number 7.
Egg salad.
I can imagine smashing all those eggs on your head.
I've literally only had one raw one.
One thing that you, Instagram question, CT Bowman. One thing that you know now about dog training that you wish you had known before. That's a
really good question. And
really
it's hard
question.
To say just one thing.
I would say that, I think I've got a really good answer for this. When I initially started, I got a dog, just found a dog and went, if I put in the time, effort, and energy, this dog will be whatever and do whatever I train it to do, period. And that was the mentality that I went into training my first dog. And I learned...
Crazy Sammy.
I learned pretty quickly that that was not the case. Not all dogs are created equal, and breeding programs are important. The things that you're putting into programs are important. Now, if you put enough time, effort, and energy, I mean, she turned out to be a great dog, but
3 years later.
But it took a lot. And starting with a dog that's bred specifically for the task you're looking for, it's like when people contact us and say, Can I train a rat terrier to be a pointing dog? It's like, what? Sure, I guess, but it's going to be hard. And why not just get a pointing dog and teach it to be a pointing dog? So I would say that would be the one thing that I wish I'd maybe known or hadn't been quite so naive to, is that that genetics are important, breeds are important, and there's a reason why people have spent centuries developing the specific dogs that are out there. And not all dogs are created equal. So
That was a good question. I think that I'm going to answer that one too.
okay.
One thing that I wish I knew.
Wait. Grab that egg, smash it on your head quick.
No, I already know it's not raw. Okie dokie.
One thing that you wish you knew.
I wish that knowing where we wanted to take our breeding program and our training program now, that I had the opportunity to go to a few more tests before starting training dogs to be test dogs. I wish that I could have gone and watched a few more senior hunter, master hunter, AKC tests. I wish that I could have gone to a few more utility and UPT tests in NAVDA and had the opportunity to go to a few more invitationals, maybe even volunteer at them to get a little bit closer inside look at what some of that was going to look like, so that I had a better idea of what I was prepping these dogs to do. I've done a lot of hunting with dogs in the past, so I had that background, but I didn't necessarily have as much testing experience background. And the more that you can expose yourself to, learn, ask questions, watch multiple dogs run through these same tests so that you can see, hey, not all dogs are going to do well at the same things. Not all dogs are going to struggle with the same things. Some dogs really struggle with backing at the invitational, whereas I went into the invitational and I'd never even been concerned about my dog, how he was going to back, because I'm like, my dog backs. I was concerned with the blind because we didn't have a lot of water opportunities to train on, to prep for. I wasn't sure how to prep for that. So I went in going, I might not be able to pass at the blind. And that's where I failed on the first one. So not all dogs are going to excel at the same things. Not all dogs are going to fail at the same things. And just having a better idea of how those dogs perform at those tests and seeing all avenues of what's involved in a test would be what I wish that I had a more open mind about.
That's great. That's great. I believe it's your turn. Let's see if she smashes the egg on her face.
16. Okie dokie. 16, 17, and this one's, and 14. So we're all in the double digits here.
In the teens. You're not counting to 16. Just smash it.
I'm just smashing it. I know. Oh! I got it that time. I got it good.
You asked for it. I mean,
I did ask for it.
You've been wishing you got one of them to smash on yourself. How was that, honey?
Well, it definitely didn't hurt as much as the hard-boiled eggs, but it is disgusting and slimy.
That was good. I wish we'd been filming that in slow motion. They're like, dun, 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 dun.
I should have counted all the way to 16.
There was good splashback. You got it all over me, too.
Uh-huh. Yuck. Yuck. Do I have any more egg on my face?
A fair amount. In your hair.
Oh, isn't that supposed to be good for your hair? I think it's supposed to be good for your hair. I'm telling myself that.
I think we're pretty safe then for the rest of them, because that was egg number 6. Unless there is 7. Which
I can't remember.
I don't remember either.
Okay.
I think there might be 7.
So sticky. What was that?
It
16?
gets better when it dries. Yeah, 16.
Okay, 16. From Instagram, Whittle_Wendell. Whittle Wendell. When working with a breeder to match a puppy to the buyer, what is a good way to go about choosing a puppy out of the litter? Are you able to get an idea of the puppy's personality and level of hunt drive to match with what the buyer would like? That is a really good question. We actually, hold on, I'm so distracted by this slime. 1 second.
It all over the microphone and everything. Yeah, we'll clean them up after we're done here.
Okay, now I can focus. Yes, we would say that listening to your breeder for recommendations on which puppy would be a good fit for you is your best bet, because your breeder is who spent the last 8 weeks with your puppy. You go to pick out your puppy at 8 weeks old. You get to spend a few hours with that litter, and you're not going to get a full view of what those puppies really are. They may be more tired that morning just because they've been running around and playing with their litter mates. And so you're like, oh, well, this puppy's the calmest because it's sleeping right now. And your breeder's going, that puppy's just been wearing itself out all morning, or I've been wearing that puppy out all morning just so that it would be a little more calm for the puppy send home. So listen to your breeder. They're going to have the most input on what those puppies truly are.
I would add to that is just to almost be cautious of a breeder or a person that's selling you dogs is like, yeah, just pick a puppy. They're all great.
They're all the same.
Yeah, which is not the case. Now, there's going to be some, like they're going to say these three are very similar. This one is definitely the most laid back. That one's definitely the wild child or something to that effect. But even to the point where, we're borderline moving to the point of assigning dogs to people to make sure that we can best match personalities and puppies to that. But right now we just make strong recommendations.
And most of our puppy buyers are very willing to take those recommendations because they realize that we spend as much time with the puppies as we do, and they want the puppy that's going to be the best fit for them. So I try and put less emphasis on color and look of the puppy and things like that, and more on personality, temperament that's going to fit what the family says they're looking for.
Absolutely. Go into it with an open mind. Don't get stuck on puppy pictures, and you'll be a lot better off.
Yeah. And also giving your breeder and yourself as much time as possible to help you make those suggestions and make your pick. Picking puppies at 3 days old is a terrible way to pick a puppy because they are all just cute little balls of fur that don't move around or do a whole lot at that point. That's all you get to go off of is color. And like we just said, you don't want to just go off of color. You want to get as much opportunity for the personality of those puppies to come through. And I would say puppies don't truly start showing a lot of that personality until 4 or 5 weeks old. And it just continues to develop between 5 and 8 weeks. And we even see changes in puppies from 8 to 12 weeks. Not that we keep a lot of puppies around until 12 weeks other than our personal puppies.
I wouldn't say a ton of changes, though. I'd say we were
a little more change.
Yeah, a little bit. I'd say we're pretty accurate. I mean, we've gotten, we had a really hard decision with one of our most recent litters that we kept a dog out of. And it came down to, 3 specific dogs that we were trying to make a decision from. And those 3 dogs are exactly what I would have expected to see out of them.
And they're all back in for training right now, which is something that we as breeders really love. The opportunity is to get puppies from our program back in so we can continue to evaluate them and see what that evaluation process and what our initial expectations of those puppies really turned out to be.
Were we right or were we wrong on what we were thinking? And we're not always right, but we're pretty dang close most of the time.
Yes. Yep. So that was a really good question.
It's a really good question. All right. Next egg.
Is it a hard boil? Egg salad.
Egg salad. I didn't even look at what number it was.
14.
Just full commit. Let's go. All right. It says teleost fishing something. I have a 13-week-old. Sorry for butchering it. Just tell us how to spell it if you want, or say it if you want. I can spell it.
It is spelled for you. I think he's hit himself in the head with an egg way too much today.
One too many eggs to the head. I have a 13-week-old poodle pointer and was recently told by an experienced dog trainer not to let your puppy play after training sessions because they absorb less of the training session and are less hungry for more training. Agree, disagree, thoughts? Now, I would say that there is some truth to
this is an interesting question.
It is a very interesting question. I would say that there's some truth to it, but it kind of depends on the specific environment that the dog's in and everything else. I would say on a regular basis of if I've got a puppy that I'm developing here, I'm not going to worry too much about, hey, we finished a training session. Now I need to put them away so that they don't get to play or whatever else. I don't really see that, especially through the very early stages of development. A lot of that, like we talked about, I think in the last video now, a lot of that we do, it's fun, it's games, it's trying to build fun and
drive and desire around training.
It is. Now, this is going to change a little bit based on personality. If you have a dog that lacks desire to work or lacks desire for the reward or doesn't want to train, then we have to build that. And it becomes, that's where you can see a little bit of that. And we kind of take a tough love approach to the introductions with a puppy, and we utilize food because we need something that dog's willing to work for, and we build food drive and desire for many reasons. One of which we've got a whole nother video about talking about the importance of feeding dogs. It's in our hunting dog health series. So definitely go to playlist, check that out. But it's important to build desire around the food. And we do that via your first session. If the puppy loses interest after 10 or 15 or 20 reps or whatever it may be, then the remaining part of their meal goes away. We hold that for the next meal. A lot of the things that we've developed as far as training methods, I hate to say this, but it goes back to the way that my mom raised me as a kid. Okay. And I don't think your mom was a whole lot different, but it
Nope.
was, I hated oatmeal. Some people have heard me talk about this before. I mean, hated oatmeal. I think it's probably because of the way that my mom made it. Sorry, mom. You sucked at making oatmeal. But it was.
But she made really darn good cookies.
Yeah, she makes really good cookies. But you definitely didn't get a cookie if you didn't eat your oatmeal. So she would make the oatmeal, just old fashioned oats, cook them on the stove, right? And then put this blob of oatmeal in the middle of the bowl, and then put a little bit of cinnamon and sugar on top, which sounds like it would be a good idea. But then pour a cold milk moat around the outside. And so you got this like warm, gooey grossness with the cold milk. And
it turned into this gelatinous blob.
Yes, it's just gross. And I would eat it like giant bites as fast as I could to get rid of it, because if I didn't eat it, it was going to be there for lunch. And if I didn't eat it at lunch, it was going to be there for dinner. So eventually I was eating my oatmeal. And the sooner I just made the decision, I'll eat the oatmeal and be done with this, then I got over it. It's a similar thing with the puppies. The puppy says, I'm not interested in that. Then you say, okay, well, we're going to hold it and you'll be more interested later because you're going to be hungry at your next meal for sure. And it only takes a day or two. And then you get a dog that's got a really strong desire to work and they're excited and driven to work. And that's important for dogs' brains. They are bred to work and they are happiest when they have purpose. And that purpose being toward the goals that we're trying to teach them is important. So
otherwise, they'll find a purpose of their own, which won't necessarily be
usually
a
destructive
good
and bad.
purpose.
Yeah.
And I would say that not letting the puppy play before a training session would be more beneficial to me than after, because
So
we've already
focused.
Yeah, so they're more focused. We've already accomplished what we wanted to in our training session. So if we want to play and have some fun afterwards, great. But I want that puppy focused and ready to work when it comes to their training session, not burn out from playing them in the backyard or playing around in the house all morning, but now they are not ready to work because they're mentally and physically exhausted.
I would say that even in our training program, when dogs are older and they come in, recess or unstructured playtime is a very important part of that in developing a bold and confident dog. So definitely they need the playtime. But it needs to be in the appropriate amounts of playtime at the appropriate amount of time, or at the appropriate time of day. So.
And supervised always.
All right, Kat. Last question for you.
Last but not least,
There's a good chance that
17.
this egg is not hard boiled.
He's trying to psych me out. I just know it.
Go, 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 go.
Egg salad. Ow, 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 ow. Okay. Last question from Cimarron Shiflet from Instagram. Do you brush your dog's teeth or just give them bones? If so, what type? I have a year-old GSP and everything I know is because of you guys. Been following your videos since I picked her up.
Aww,
awesome.
That's awesome.
Well,
hopefully you subscribe.
Hopefully. We do not brush our dog's teeth. First of all, we have 10 dogs and that would take a long time. I struggle just to get my son's teeth brushed. He's a wiggly little turd about that sometimes. So no, we don't brush our dog's teeth. We do give them chew bones. We don't give them rawhides. I like the Pet Stages all wood chews because they are made of a compressed wood stick. They don't splinter, but the dogs really like to chew on them. They're really great about being abrasive and, wearing that plaque off of their teeth. We use other bones. Some of the pork chomps chews are great options. We even use just shank bones from
beef, raw marrow bones. So the key with those two, that raw marrow is really good for digestion and gut microbiome, but it needs to be introduced in small segments.
Because it's really rich.
Really, really rich. And if their dog's not used to it, it can give them an upset stomach. So you'd go like chew on it for 10 minutes, take it away. The next day they get 10 minutes, take it away. So
exactly.
You can work up to that. But
But
Shank
no,
bones, pork chops.
and then we have done some dentals with our dogs if they're getting older and their teeth are getting a little more plaquey and the bones just aren't quite enough. You know, a routine dental with your dentist is always your dentist, your veterinarian. I don't think I've seen a dog at the dentist office, but with your veterinarian, routine dentals with your veterinarian would be a good option as well.
Guys, that's all the time we have for today. We hope you've enjoyed this extra special YAWA edition. If you have more questions, we will be at it again next week. And the next thing is, if you have other internet challenges that you want us to try out in these, we're happy to do it. This is all for your entertainment as well as to help answer your questions.
Thanks for watching. I'm Kat, the dog trainer.
And I'm the guy with the pink gun, and we will see you soon.